Well, joining us live this morning is the Nationals leader, David Littleproud. David, good to see you. So what are your thoughts on what you've heard from Conservative and moderate Liberals in the past few days as we get into that first meeting today?
Oh, well, look, obviously, we've got a very settled position. We had a unanimous position last weekend. It's up to the Liberal Party. My job's to allow them the time and space to get to that position. But we've been very clear that we don't support net zero, the net zero target. We believe there's a cheaper, better, fairer way than Labor's $9 trillion net zero plan that's going to put Medicare and NDIS at risk. And why wouldn't we, as a country, have a mature conversation saying we can still reduce emissions, but not at the pace and not the way that Labor's put forward. We're actually streaking ahead of the rest of the world. We're only 1.1% of total global emissions. Why wouldn't we keep within that range, not go further ahead? Because they're saying they want to reduce emissions by 4.8% between now and 2035, when the OECD is only going ahead 1.7%. So let's have a calm conversation. We've shown leadership as the National Party. We haven't just done the populist thing and said, no, we're out. That wouldn't have helped anybody. We've been very mature about this. We took a calm, considered approach, worked through this, looked at alternatives, and I think we've given an opportunity for our coalition partners to work with us constructively once they get to their position to get to a consensus. And that's my leadership role within the coalition. That's I take seriously. And now I just need to allow the Liberal Party to have their conversations over the coming 24, 48 hours.
Okay, if the moderates get up and net zero stays in the mix, when you guys meet on Sunday, when the Nats and Libs get together, can the coalition or could the coalition stay together if net zero is in the mix?
Well, I don't think commentary from the sideline on commentating on hypotheticals is constructive. I think my role is to put our clear position with the how, not just say no, but what to and how, which is what we've done with a cheaper, better, fairer plan than Labor's $9 trillion plan. And what we've said is we'll work with the Liberal Party once they get to their position, but I don't intend to give commentary along the way, because that doesn't help the conversation inside their room if they're getting gratuitous advice from the National Party. They know where we sit. We believe there is a cheaper, better, fairer way to do this than the $9 trillion that Labor's going to spend that puts Medicare and the NDIS at risk. Let's do our bit internationally, but let's do it sensibly. Okay. No one's running away from this. And the only argument that Labor's got at the moment, there is no intellectual argument against what the National Party's put. They've reverted to pure old politics of saying that we're climate deniers. If that's all the intellectual rigour they can bring to this debate, it shows this government is out of touch. And they're going to spend nearly $2 billion on a conference to create a grandstand for Albanese to talk to the world on. I mean, that's ridiculous for this COP conference as well, just to show how out of touch they are.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just back on that climate denialism point, because, and I'll have to close on this because I've got to get to Jacinda Allen, but I mean, Keith Wallahan made this point to me yesterday about linking taking out net zero with climate denialism, because they are together by proxy, is the point that he was making. So how do you argue against that? Because no doubt that argument will be made.
With a cheaper, better, fairer plan to reduce emissions. We're not walking away from reducing emissions. What we're saying is let's put our cheaper, better, fairer plan against Labor's $9 trillion net zero plan that puts Medicare and NDIS at risk. Well, I'm prepared to have the conversation. At some point, you've got to have the courage, your conviction. You've got to stand up and say to the Australian people, let's have that conversation. Let's lead this country into thinking differently about how we can do things. That's what politics is about the contest of ideas. You shouldn't cower in the corner. You should actually come forward. And that's why we didn't just say no. We came forward with a cheaper, better, fairer plan that actually has an alternative way to reduce emissions, but a way that keeps pace with the world and doesn't send us broke.
That's the Nationals leader, David Littleproud, live for us this morning. Thank you, David.